Well, hello there, my beautiful friends. Today I have a very exciting video for you. We are going to be talking all about pink eyeshadow. You guys know how much I absolutely adore and love pink eyeshadow. It's basically all I talk about here, but today I put together a dedicated video on some of my absolute favorite pink eyeshadows that I own. So if you are interested in hearing all about pink eyeshadow, then go ahead and keep on watching and let's jump right on in. But why don't we go ahead and kick things off here with something from Enchanted Lustre Cosmetics. This is the shade Cotton Candy, and this is actually a highlight, but this is way too deep for me personally as a highlighter, and I like to use it as an eyeshadow. If you have super deep skin or even deep skin, this is going to be so freaking gorgeous on you as a highlighter. I highly suggest it if you have really deep skin. This is going to be so pretty, but nonetheless, this is described as an iridescent pink glow, and I couldn't think of a better way to describe this shade. Cotton Candy definitely has a baby pink base, and she is on the lighter side, but by no means is she one of those white iridescent kind of highlights that flash pink. I'm not the biggest fan of those, and she is definitely not one of those. Even though she is lighter, this is definitely a gorgeous, creamy and smooth baby pink highlight that can also be used as eyeshadow, or blush if you want to. She can be whatever your heart desires. This next beauty is from Clionadh Cosmetics. This is the shade Utopia. Now you are going to hear me talk about Cleona quite a few times in this video. I talked about them so many freaking times in the purple eyeshadow video because they just have their purple and pink eyeshadow formula down stat, but this is described as a light cool toned pink with a blue shift and blue glimmers. This shade also has a sheer base, so it can be used as an eyeshadow topper or it can be used as a highlighter. So you get a lot of versatility with this kind of shade. This guy has some glimmers running throughout it, but it's nothing that's overly chunky. I think that their stained glass collection definitely has more chunky-esque glimmers in it. The little shimmers that are in this product are very fine and kind of hard to see, but they just add a reflective quality to the actual eyeshadow itself that makes it very shiny on the eyes. So if you've been kind of eyeballing the stained glass collection, but you're not really sure if you want it because you think it's a little bit too shiny and out there for you, Utopia might be a good way to go. She is absolutely beautiful and creamy and pigmented. I love Utopia so much that I own 2 pans of it. I know it's excessive, but when I know I love something, I like to stock up, okay? Just in case they ever run out. Yeah, that's my excuse. Here we have another shade from Cleona. Surprise, surprise, I told you they were going to be popping up a lot. This is the shade Sunbeam, and this is one of their glitter multichromes. So we're going to get a more kind of glimmery and shimmery effect with this product than we would with Utopia. This is described as a sheer pink base with medium glitter particles that shift from orange to gold to lime and finally to turquoise. Now, I would say that this product mainly has like a baby pink base with some golden shimmers and also some orange shimmers, and then you just see a hint of turquoise and maybe even a little bit of green too, but it's very subtle. You mostly see very light baby pink and a really strong amount of gold, as you can see in the swatch there, but you can just see a touch of blue and green kind of in the background. It makes this product very unique and interesting, and it just catches the light so beautifully with all those different colors running throughout it. This is a very unique product, and I own a lot of shades that are kind of similar to this, but because of those extra shimmers that are in there, it just packs a punch. It just makes it more intense on the eyes. Sunbeam is another one of those shades that I own 2 of that I stocked up on in case the makeup apocalypse ever happens. If that day ever comes, I am good to go. I am set and ready as far as pink eyeshadows go. I know I sound insane, but I like to stock up. So here we have the very first matte pink out of the bunch, and this is from Clionadh Cosmetics. This is the shade Baby Breath. I kept thinking it was baby's breath, like the flower, but nope, it's just baby breath, which sounds kind of gross in my opinion. I can't imagine that babies have very good smelling breath. But nonetheless, this is described as a matte pastel baby pink, and this is a very light and very pastel baby pink, as you can see. But oddly enough, when I use this on the eyes, which I basically use this anytime I'm doing a purple or pink look as a transition shade, I find that this guy deepens up a little bit. It's not so stark and pastel, which is nice because it might look a little bit intimidating, but you can definitely use it if you have a medium, maybe even a deep skin tone. I know it looks very light in the pan, but it actually deepens up quite a bit, which I personally appreciate because this shade is a little bit intimidating. Moving right along, we have Divina's Pixy Stix. This is one of my absolute favorite pink eyeshadows in the entire market, but this is described as a bubblegum pink base with tons of gold and pink glimmers. This is such a sparkly and shimmery eyeshadow, and it's so buttery and smooth to the touch. These guys are pretty easy to use on the eyes as well. You definitely need a glitter glue, and you definitely need 2 layers of this bad boy, but once you get there, this guy is so shiny and bright, and you see such a strong pink and gold shift on the eyes. And anytime a product has this many micro shimmers and is this shimmery just in general, it is going to catch the light so beautifully on the eyes. This guy is absolutely gorgeous. This is one of my favorite shades that I have in my entire collection. Now, she does look pretty similar to Cleonadh's Sunbeam, and they are pretty similar, I'm not gonna lie, but like I said with Cleona, you do get a little bit of blue and a little bit of green in the background that is noticeable on the eyes. This guy is basically just straight pink and gold, so if you are into pink and gold eyeshadows, this is definitely one to add to your collection. I think Pixy Stix is the shade that any pink eyeshadow lover should own. Jumping into the next shade, we have Looksy Beauty's Tesla. This guy retails for $4, but sometimes they have them marked down for $2.50, so I would highly suggest heading over to the Looksy site if you like this eyeshadow. It might still be $2.50, which is very, very inexpensive. But this is described as a bubblegum pink base with a strong blue and gold sheen. Now, the main difference between this shade and some of the other pinks that are kind of similar that I've shown you thus far is that Pixy Stix and Sunbeam from earlier all have glimmers and shimmers running throughout them. Good old Tesla here doesn't have any shimmers running throughout it. It is strictly a duochromatic sheen. I know some of you out there specifically said that you didn't want to see all shimmery shades. You wanted to see some that had a sheen and that weren't just glittery kind of shimmery eyeshadows. So this guy is for you. Tesla is so easy to work with. You need one application of this guy over the eyes and you get full pigmentation. You don't really need a glitter glue because there aren't any shimmers in here, so it's very, very user friendly. You get a really strong duochromatic effect on the eyes as well, so this is the kind of product that if you don't like messing with glitter glue and fussing with glimmers and whatnot, Tesla is most definitely for you. Fun fact, I recently saw a Tesla coil in action, so that was pretty interesting. Not like anyone asked me, but I digress. Here's another shadow for you non-shimmery eyeshadow lovers out there. This is Give Me Glow's Wednesday, and this is described as an icy cool pink metallic, and to me this guy has a little bit of mauve undertones kind of running throughout it as well. Now, I would say that this guy definitely doesn't have any shimmers running throughout it. It is very much a foiled eyeshadow. You're gonna kind of see in the swatches here that it might look like it has some micro shimmers, but trust me, it doesn't. That is just Give Me Glow's formula. They have a very intense and highly pigmented formula, and for some reason when you swatch it out and you pick it up on a brush and even on, you know, the finger, it does look a little bit shimmery, but once you start to blend it, the shimmers go away almost. I don't think that there are actually any shimmers in this. I think it's just the actual product and the fact that Give Me Glow Cosmetics' foils are very heavy to the touch. They're not silicone-y, they're just very intense, and a lot picks up when you use a brush, a finger. No matter how you apply it, you're going to get a lot of pigment, which is not a bad thing by any means. I don't personally think you need a glitter glue with this guy, but if you do have oily lids, maybe go in with a tackier eyeshadow primer. But this is such a beautiful high shine ultra foiled metallic shade. Give Me Glow probably has the most foiled metallics I think I've ever seen as far as non-shimmery metallics go. That's a tongue twister all in itself. So we're gonna go ahead and jump back to Clionadh Cosmetics here with the shade Emboss. This is described as a semi-pigmented salmon base with medium glitter particles that shift from lime to turquoise and finally to blue. So this guy does look pretty similar to Sunbeam from earlier, but the main difference between Sunbeam and Emboss is that Emboss has a deeper toned base. As you can see, the actual base of this shadow is a salmony pink shade, and it does have those kind of turquoise and blue shimmers running throughout it, just like Sunbeam did. Emboss also does not contain the golden particles that Sunbeam did, and you get a little bit more green in here as well. So if you are into kind of pinky blue duochromy eyeshadows and you want something that's a little bit different, this is definitely the shadow to go for. Emboss is a really interesting color because of that salmon base and because it has a green shift versus the typical pink blue duochromes that we see pretty often on the market. This is a really interesting and unique shadow, and there are a lot of pinks that look very similar here in this video, but this guy definitely stands out because of that salmon base. It just gives it such an interesting and unexpected kind of undertone on the eyes. And in true Cleona fashion, she's absolutely gorgeous on the eyes. You do need a glitter glue, but trust me, once you get this bad boy on the eyes, you are just going to be amazed. So speaking of pink and blue duochromatic eyeshadows, this is Davina's Marshmallow Pillows. For some reason, my camera will not focus on this eyeshadow. I don't know if it's the shimmers, I don't know if it's the reflective quality of this shadow, but it is much more hot pink in person, but she looks almost silvery white on camera. It's very confusing for my tiny little pea brain. I don't understand it, but this is described as a hot pink base with violet, pink, and blue glimmers. So this guy is a little bit more interesting than just your typical, you know, pink and blue eyeshadow like I said earlier because of those gorgeous violet shimmers. And Marshmallow Pillows is a little bit more sheer than some of the shades I've shown you so far. You kind of have to build it up, but once you get there, you get such a strong sparkle and strong shimmer on the eyes. This is definitely not for the faint of heart. This is a very, very intense eyeshadow. Once you layer on about 2 layers or so over top of the glitter glue, it just gives off such an intense and bright shine because of the amount of shimmers that are in here. There is a whole heck of a lot of shimmers packed into this little tiny eyeshadow. It's kind of insane. Next up, we have another shade from Luxie Beauty. This is the shade Bubblegum, and this is described as a pink that shifts from green to gold and finally shifts to a little bit of purple. Now, I would say that this definitely looks more so like a baby pink eyeshadow that has a very strong lime kind of greenish shift and then some gold shimmers as well. This is a gorgeous freaking eyeshadow. I feel like this collection kind of went under the radar with a lot of people, but this is a beautiful shimmery and glimmery eyeshadow. I would honestly compare these to the Divina shades, and Luxie's Bubblegum is actually very reminiscent of Cleona's Emboss from earlier, and let me tell you, Luxie's Bubblegum is significantly cheaper, although both of them are absolutely gorgeous, and you know, I would pay $30 for both eyeshadows if I had to. That's how good both of them are. But I feel like Luxie's just kind of got swept under the rug, and I don't really understand why. As you can see, you have a kind of medium bubblegummy pink base, and then you have that gorgeous lime green shift. The lime green is very, very apparent in this eyeshadow, and it looks very duochromatic and shimmery on the eyes as well. It is absolutely beautiful, and I would love to see Luxie come out with more shades in this kind of formula because they completely nailed it with these ones. So I could not make a pink eyeshadow video and not talk about JD Glow Cosmetics' AKA. This is such a freaking beautiful shadow. This is probably one of the first shimmery eyeshadows that I ever added to my collection. Believe it or not, at one point in my life, I was an all matte eyeshadow kind of gal. I know, I cannot believe it either. I don't know what was wrong with me back then because I have just fallen in love with shimmers. But this is described as a hot pink base with green, gold, and pink shimmers. So this guy is definitely deeper than some of the other hot pink based eyeshadows that I've shown you thus far. I know a lot of these kind of descriptions are pretty similar and they're all starting to sound the same. But this is definitely more of a cool kind of mauve pink. The green shimmer that is in AKA is almost like an olive green, so you're not going to get that really, really strong lime that we were seeing with some of the other shades. It's a little bit more subdued and it is a little bit more cool toned and kind of olivey. It works really nicely with the golden shimmers that are in this shadow, and it really kind of complements the mauve pink undertones, if you will, of the hot pink base. I feel like I just used a bunch of giant buzzwords for the sole purpose of trying to make myself sound smart, and I ended up making myself sound like a giant dummy. But I digress. Do not let these descriptions that are all kind of meshing together and sounding the same fool you, because AKA is definitely a standout shade and is definitely a necessity in my opinion for any pink eyeshadow lover. You need it in your collection if you like pink eyeshadow, I'm just saying. And finally, something that is vastly different from the shades that I've shown you so far, this is lilac-pink Things. Now this is described as a cool lilac pink with hot pink and pale purple shimmers. So this is a very interesting and super beautiful eyeshadow. This guy basically has a cool, very, very cool toned pink base. It's almost teetering on purple. Honestly, I could have put this in the purple video, but I do see a lot of hot pink shimmers running throughout the actual eyeshadow. So it does add to the pink undertone and just the pink quality of the shadow in general, but it's very, very close to being lilac purple. She does also have lilac shimmers running throughout the eyeshadow, so you just get a really nice mix of pink and purple in this eyeshadow. This is such a foiled and intense and shimmery eyeshadow, and I believe this guy was like $3. I don't know how she does it with her prices, but Eyeshadow Cosmetics just always has the best deals on her website, and this is such a beautiful pink eyeshadow. I honestly don't think I really own anything like this in my collection. I would say the closest thing that I have is one of my Opal Lustrous pressed pigments from Love Luxe Beauty, but those can be kind of a pain in the butt to use, and Eyeshadow Things is very, very easy to use. She works just like a typical foiled shimmery eyeshadow. So if you have been interested in, you know, those Opal Lustrous pressed pigments, pants and you want the purple one, but you just don't want to go through the hassle of using one of those. They're beautiful, but trust me, they're kind of hard to use. Then I definitely suggest Lele Posh's Things. It is so freaking gorgeous, and she's really user-friendly as well. So now we have something from Menagerie Cosmetics, and this is their shade Lily. Let me tell you, Menagerie Cosmetics does not get enough love because their eyeshadows are so incredibly high quality. They are so shiny and foiled and buttery, and they don't get enough love here on YouTube. But this is described as an ultra foiled hot pink with golden shimmers and a golden sheen. This is the most hot baby pink eyeshadow that I think I have in my collection as far as metallics and shimmery shades go. This is such an intense Barbie, like Malibu Barbie pink, and then you get that gorgeous golden sheen running throughout it, and you can legitimately just dip your brush in any of Menagerie Cosmetics' foiled eyeshadows and you get so much pigment. You do not need to sit there and dig your brush back and forth through the shadow. You get so much pigment just by barely tapping your brush in and putting it on the eyes. They are so intense and smooth and foiled, and I just don't understand why more people don't talk about them. More people should definitely talk about them because they are amazing. I know I've been very frugal with my matte pink eyeshadows in this video. You think that I would have more, but honestly, when it comes to matte pinks, the ones that I'm showing you here are the ones that I use when I'm doing a matte pink eyeshadow look. These are my favorites, and there really isn't that many of them because I don't really broaden my horizon that much when it comes to testing out eyeshadow looks. I know it's bad, but nonetheless, this is described as a matte hot bubblegum pink, and I don't even think I introduced her. This is Give Me Glow's Bubblegum. Now, I basically applied 2 finger swatches to my wrist here, and you can see how pigmented that is. Look at how pigmented that freaking eyeshadow is and how neon it is. All of their mattes are so incredibly pigmented, but they blend out so easily. I honestly think that they have my favorite formula as far as matte eyeshadows go because they are just absolute perfection. Even purples and neon pinks and pastels, they have it down to a T. So now we have another shade from Enchanted Lustre Cosmetics, and this is the shade Wild Berry. This is a strawberry pink based eyeshadow that has golden shimmers and a golden sheen. Now I would say this guy is definitely more on the foiled side, but there are a few little shimmers running throughout it, but I would describe it more so as a foiled shadow. Now Enchanted Lustre Cosmetics' shadows are so incredibly buttery and creamy. They are very, very similar to Give Me Glow's metallics, but I think that Enchanted Lustres are just a hair more emollient. They almost feel like a very, very stiff cream shadow, if you will, which is a very good thing for an eyeshadow and a very bad thing for a cream shadow. But because of the emollientness of this type of shadow, they are very, very pigmented and smooth. I do suggest a glitter glue with them because they are so emollient and buttery and creamy, but I do not mind by any means placing down a glitter glue for the amount of shine and the payoff that you get from her eyeshadows. Her eyeshadows are another product that is so underrated. People do not talk about them nearly enough because she has one of the best products out there in the indie market. I'm gonna say it, she really does. She has so many fun colors to choose from as well, so I wish more people would talk about her. But as you can see, this is the most gorgeous golden strawberry shade I think I've ever seen. It is absolute perfection. And look, another matte eyeshadow. I bet you thought that you weren't going to see another one of those for a while. But this is from Colored Rain, actually, which is a brand that I really don't own that many things from. But this is one of my absolute favorite pink eyeshadows in the world. This is Party Drip, which that name, Colored Rain, is very, very questionable. But this is described as a matte, hot, intense magenta pink. As you can see, just like with Give Me Glow, these are very, very pigmented, and this is probably the kind of shade that is definitely going to stain your eyeballs. No, not eyeballs. I mean eyelids. That is disgusting. I don't want anything staining my eyeballs. If you have sensitive eyelids and they stain easily, I definitely don't think that Party Drip would be your kind of shadow. But if you like hot, intense, super, super neon pinks, this is definitely your guy. This guy is so neon and intense that my camera wouldn't even focus on it. For some reason, the amount of neon that Party Drip is made my camera just go absolutely berserk, and it would not focus on this freaking eyeshadow. It is that insane and bright. Second to last eyeshadow we have here is also from Lele Posh Cosmetics. This is their shade Lucy. Now you're gonna see the next shade and you're gonna think, why the hell did she sandwich this weird mauve in between two very, very hot matte pinks? it is simply because I forgot to include it at the beginning. Like I said earlier, I have a pea brain. But this is such a beautiful foiled and intense mauve icy pink shade. This shade is definitely the most mauve out of anything I've shown you thus far, and you're gonna see in the swatch that it definitely looks a little bit more mauve on camera, but in person you do see the icy pink kind of quality come through a little bit more. This is definitely still a pink. It's not quite a mauve, but it has a very, very strong mauve shift. This is a beautiful eyeshadow that is so creamy and smooth. This guy applies really easy to the eye. All of the metallics that I've personally tried from Lele Posh have been so smooth and easy to use, and they're just so user friendly. So I think that if you're into pink eyeshadow but you don't want anything that's too much fuss, this guy is definitely for you, and Lele Posh in general is definitely. And the final pink eyeshadow is from Give Me Glow, and this is the shade Raspberry Cheesecake. As I stated a million times, I absolutely adore their mattes, and this guy is one of my absolute favorites. This is described as an intense matte raspberry magenta. As you can see, she looks blurry because this is another one of those shades that is too intense for my camera to even focus on. My camera can't even deal with how intense this shadow is. Just like with the rest of Give Me Glow's mattes, you need a very small amount of product to get full pigmentation. You don't need to sit there and dip your brush in a million times. You are going to get a very effortless and blown out and pigmented look with just one application of product. It is insane. I do not understand how they do it, but I'm not going to question it because they have a perfect formula as far as mattes go. And what is that thing that people always say? If you find out the magic behind the sorcery, then it's no longer fun. That's exactly how I feel about these mattes. That doesn't really make too much sense in this context, but you get what I'm saying. Give Me Glow Cosmetics has the most gorgeous mattes, and their pink mattes are some of my absolute favorites. As you can see in this video, we had almost all Give Me Glow mattes, which is pretty crazy because like I stated, I own quite a few pink eyeshadows, especially matte pinks. Alright folks, I am exhausted. I have been talking forever about pink eyeshadow, and don't get me wrong, I could definitely sit here and talk for hours and hours on end about pink eyeshadow, but I'm gonna let you get back to what you were doing before this because I'm sure you're pretty exhausted as well. So I really, really hope that you enjoyed watching me swatch out some of my favorite pink eyeshadows and seeing them swatched and seeing little mini reviews on them. I hope it was helpful for you if you've been wondering what the difference between some of these pink eyeshadows are, because a lot of them can look the same online, so I hope it was helpful to see them actually swatched out. As you know, I am a pink eyeshadow connoisseur, and I truly believe that all of these shadows I showed you here today are some of the best that you can get on the market, and honestly, this list could have been so much longer, but I really had to narrow it down to the best of the best. So that's what you're seeing here. If you found this video helpful or you just found it entertaining to see me swatch out all of these eyeshadows and to just see them on skin, then I would absolutely love it if you gave me a big old thumbs up. And if you are not already subscribed and you want to see more videos like this, then go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below. I do swatch videos all the freaking time. It is my favorite kind of video to do, so if you want to see more, hit that subscribe button, why don't you? But with that being said, I hope you are having an absolutely amazing and beautiful day wherever you are, and thank you so much for joining me here today to talk about pink eyeshadows. I hope to see you next time. Bye!